Max Verstappen and George Russell's on-track incident today cost Max another 3 penalty points. This incident puts him exactly 1 point away from a race suspension. However, the details of what actually happened when we saw the official FIA document make this an even harder pill to swallow. If you were watching the Barcelona race, which I actually was watching in person, you would have seen that in our safety car restart, Max was put on hard tires. Obviously, he was already not happy with this because starting from a safety car reset in hard tires is not a great move, but it appeared that Max was out of any other tires available for his allocation for the race. Because of that, Red Bull made the decision to pit him and put him on fresh tires even though they were hards, rather than just keep him out and see if he could manage his tires against everybody else with fresher ones. In that safety car restart, Max was not able to get the grip that he wanted, and we saw him lose a position to Charles Leclerc. In that incident, we also saw that George Russell behind them had an opportunity to overtake Max as well. And when George tried to make that overtake, Max kept his position by leaving the track. Because his team was concerned that he was going to receive a penalty for gaining an advantage off track, he was advised to give George the position back. Max seemed pretty upset about that. However, it did appear that he was going to give the position back when he slowed down. But once George actually started to pass him, Max accelerated and caused a collision with George. That's where that 10-second penalty comes in and the 3 penalty points. But what's even worse about this whole situation is that if you look at the FIA document that they've released about the penalty, they state that even though Red Bull assumed he would get a penalty for gaining an advantage off track, they determined that they would not have awarded a penalty for it. So had Max not actually ceded the position to George, he would not have received a penalty for that incident. And in trying to keep him from receiving a penalty for that incident, Max ends up causing a much larger penalty for himself, dropping all the way down into 10th, and only receiving a single point for this Grand Prix, not just for himself, but for the entirety of Red Bull. And it means that he is now 1 point away from a race ban. The way penalty points work, if you are not familiar with them, is that they do not fall off each season, but they fall off 12 months after they are awarded. So these 3 penalty points that Max just earned will be with him until June of 2026. And this is a really big shift for his possibilities of winning another championship. Not just for the points that he lost today, but for the way that he'll need to race for the rest of the season to make sure that he does not receive a race ban. And if he does miss an entire race, it's going to be a huge issue for him overall in the point standings. So just the last few laps of this Barcelona race could be the reason that Max does not win a 5th championship this year. Let me know what you guys thought about the incident, if you thought the penalty was too harsh or not harsh enough, and if you think Max still has a shot at this championship. Who knew we would see a return of the George Russell and Max Verstappen beef at Barcelona in just the last few laps?